Every single day in the United States, approximately 10,000 people turn 62, and a significant number of them are going to make a financial decision in the next few months that will cost them, on average, between $100,000 and $200,000 over the course of their retirement. Not because they were reckless, not because they made a bad investment, because they filed for Social Security at the earliest possible moment without fully understanding what that decision actually costs them over time. I am not here to tell you that filing at 62 is always wrong. It is not. There are situations where filing early is the right decision, and I am going to be honest with you about what those situations look like. But I am here to show you the actual math. The numbers that Social Security Administration offices don't put on a poster in their waiting room. The calculation that your neighbor who filed at 62 probably never did before he made that call. Because once you see the math, you cannot unsee it. And whatever decision you make after watching this video, it will be a decision you made with full information. That is all I am asking for. My name is Julian Voss, and this is Julian Voss Retirement. We cover the Social Security rules, IRS regulations, and financial policies that directly affect people in or approaching retirement. Subscribe now if you haven't already, because what we are covering today is one of the most consequential financial decisions of your entire life. And this is only the beginning of what we have planned for this topic. Let's start with the foundation. Social Security was designed with what the government calls your full retirement age as the central reference point. Your full retirement age is the age at which you receive 100% of the benefit you have earned based on your lifetime of work and contributions. For most people watching this video, that full retirement age is either 66, 67, or somewhere in between depending on your birth year. If you were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. If you were born between 1955 and 1959, your full retirement age falls somewhere between 66 and 2 months and 66 and 10 months. The system gives you a choice. You can file as early as 62 and start receiving benefits immediately, but at a permanently reduced rate. Or you can wait past your full retirement age, all the way up to age 70, and receive a permanently increased rate. Every month you wait past 62 increases your benefit. Every month you wait past your full retirement age up to 70 increases it even further. That is the basic structure most people know. What most people do not know is exactly how large those differences are in dollar terms and what they add up to over a full retirement. Let me walk you through the numbers precisely. If your full retirement age is 67 and you file at 62, your benefit is permanently reduced by 30%. Not temporarily, permanently, for the rest of your life. Every check you ever receive from Social Security will be 30% smaller than the check you would have received if you had waited until 67. If you file at 63, the reduction is 25%. At 64, 20%. At 65, 13.3%. At 66, 6.7%. At 67, you receive your full benefit with no reduction. And if you wait past 67, your benefit grows by 8% for every year you delay, up to age 70. File at 68, and your benefit is 8% higher than your full retirement age benefit. File at 69, and it is 16% higher. File at 70, and it is 24% higher than what you would have received at 67. Now let me put real numbers around this so you can feel what these percentages actually mean. Let's say your full retirement age benefit, the amount you would receive at 67, is $2,000 per month. That is a reasonable number for someone with a solid work history in the United States. If you file at 62, your benefit is reduced by 30%. That means instead of $2,000 per month, you receive $1,400 per month, every single month, for the rest of your life. If you file at 70, your benefit is 24% higher than your full retirement age benefit. Instead of $2,000 per month, you receive $2,480 per month. The difference between filing at 62 and filing at 70 is $1,080 per month, every month, for as long as you live. Now here's where the math gets interesting, and where most people's intuition leads them completely astray. The argument for filing early almost always sounds like this. I'd rather get something now than wait and maybe never see that money. If I file at 62 and collect for 8 years before I would have filed at 70, I get 8 years of checks that I would have otherwise missed. That's a lot of money up front. That logic is not wrong, but it is incomplete, because what it ignores is the break-even point. The break-even point is the age at which the total cumulative benefits you receive from waiting are equal to the total cumulative benefits you would have received from filing early. Before the break-even point, the person who filed early has collected more total money. After the break-even point, the person who waited has collected more total money. And from that point forward, every additional month of life, the gap between the two grows larger in favor of the person who waited. Let me show you exactly where that break-even falls using the numbers I just gave you. If you file at 62 and receive $1,400 per month, and your counterpart waits until 70 and receives $2,480 per month, here is what the cumulative totals look like over time. By the time the person who waited reaches 70 and starts collecting, the person who filed at 62 has already collected 96 months of checks, or $134,400 in total benefits. The person who waited has collected zero. But starting at age 70, the person who waited is collecting $1,080 more per month than the person who filed early. At that rate, it takes approximately 125 months, or just over 10 years, to close that gap. The break-even point falls at approximately age 80 to 81. If you live past 81, and the average life expectancy in the United States for someone who reaches 62 is currently well into the mid-80s and rising, the person who waited until 70 comes out ahead, often significantly ahead. If you live to 85, the person who waited until 70 has collected approximately $240,000 more in lifetime Social Security benefits than the person who filed at 62. If you live to 90, that difference approaches $400,000. Those are not small numbers. Those are life-changing numbers. That is the difference between a retirement where you have financial flexibility and a retirement where you are watching every dollar. Now, I promised I would be honest about when filing early can make sense. Let me do that now. There are 4 situations where filing at or near 62 deserves serious consideration. The first is when you have a significant health condition that meaningfully reduces your life expectancy. The math I just showed you assumes you live past the break-even point. If you have a serious health condition and your doctor has given you reason to believe your life expectancy is below 80, the calculation shifts. Filing earlier means you collect more checks during the years you are likely to be alive. If you have a terminal diagnosis or a chronic condition that significantly shortens your expected lifespan, waiting until 70 may genuinely cost you money rather than save it. This is a painful reality, but it is an honest one. The second situation is when you have no other source of income and you genuinely cannot cover your living expenses without starting Social Security. If the choice is between filing at 62 and not eating, that is not a real choice. You file. The optimization strategies I am describing in this video are relevant for people who have some flexibility in their timing. If you have no flexibility, you do what you need to do to survive. There is no shame in that, and there is no math that changes it. The third situation is when you are in a lower income household and the additional monthly income from Social Security would allow you to stop drawing down savings accounts or investment accounts early. If filing at 62 means you can leave your IRA or your 401k untouched for several more years, the compound growth on those accounts during that period might offset or exceed the lifetime benefit reduction from filing early. This calculation is genuinely complex and depends heavily on your account balances, your investment returns, and your tax situation. It is worth sitting down with a financial planner who specializes in retirement income to run the actual numbers for your specific situation. The fourth situation is a spousal one. If you are in a married household where one spouse has a significantly higher lifetime earnings record than the other, the filing strategy becomes a two-person calculation, not a one-person calculation. The lower earning spouse may benefit from filing earlier, while the higher earning spouse waits as long as possible, ideally to 70. The reason is that when the higher earning spouse dies, the surviving spouse is entitled to the higher of their own benefit, or 100% of their deceased spouse's benefit. If the higher earning spouse waited until 70 and was receiving a larger benefit, that larger benefit becomes the survivor benefit for the remaining spouse. Maximizing the higher earner's benefit by waiting is one of the most powerful longevity insurance strategies available to married couples, and it is one that most people never think about when they are sitting in the Social Security office at 62. Let me also address something that comes up constantly in the comments and in conversations I have with retirees, which is the fear that Social Security is going to run out of money and that filing early is a way to get yours before the system collapses. I understand where that fear comes from. The headlines about Social Security's long-term funding situation are genuinely concerning, and the uncertainty is real. But I want to give you an accurate picture of what the actual risk is, because the way it is often described in the media is not quite right. The Social Security Trust Fund does face a projected shortfall, and current projections from the Social Security Administration's own trustees report suggest that the trust fund reserves could be depleted in the mid-2030s if no legislative changes are made. But depletion of the trust fund does not mean Social Security disappears. It means Social Security would be funded only by ongoing payroll tax revenue, which is currently sufficient to pay approximately 80 to 83% of scheduled benefits. In other words, even in the worst-case scenario where Congress does absolutely nothing between now and the mid-2030s, Social Security continues to pay out the majority of promised benefits. And the political reality is that Social Security is the most protected social program in American history. Every member of Congress understands that cutting Social Security benefits is electoral poison. The most likely outcomes are a combination of modest adjustments, changes to the wage cap on payroll taxes, minor adjustments to the full retirement age for younger workers, or small changes to the benefit calculation formula for future recipients. None of those changes are likely to affect people who are already in retirement or who are close to retirement age. Filing early at 62 because you are afraid Social Security will not exist in 10 years is, based on all available evidence, not a well-founded reason to reduce your lifetime benefits by 30%. Now let me talk about one more strategy that most people have never heard of, and that can be genuinely powerful for people who are trying to decide when to file. It is called a break-even analysis combined with a longevity assessment. Most people think about Social Security timing as a binary question. Should I file early or should I file late? But the more useful way to think about it is as a personalized calculation based on your specific health history, your family's longevity history, and your financial situation. Longevity has a strong genetic component. If your parents and grandparents lived into their late 80s and 90s, your own life expectancy is statistically higher than average. If you are in good health, you exercise regularly, you do not smoke, and you have no major chronic conditions, your life expectancy is higher than average. If your family history shows a pattern of early death from heart disease or cancer, and you have some of those same risk factors, your personal life expectancy may be lower than average. Taking an honest look at your own likely lifespan and mapping that against the break-even points for different filing ages is one of the most valuable exercises you can do in the years leading up to your retirement. It is not morbid, it is practical, and it can clarify a decision that feels overwhelming and turn it into something much more concrete. There are free longevity calculators available online that take into account your age, your health, your lifestyle, and your family history to give you a personalized life expectancy estimate. I would encourage you to use one before you make any Social Security filing decision. Pair that estimate with the break-even calculation I walked you through earlier, and you will have a much clearer picture of what the right timing looks like for your specific situation. Before I wrap up, I want to make sure you understand one more thing that is critically important about the permanence of this decision. Once you file for Social Security and begin receiving benefits, you have a very limited window to change your mind. Social Security allows you to withdraw your application within the first 12 months of filing and repay all of the benefits you received, essentially resetting the clock as if you had never filed. But that option only exists once in your lifetime, and it requires you to pay back every dollar you received, which many people cannot afford to do. After that 12-month window closes, your filing decision is permanent. The benefit level you locked in at 62 is the benefit level you will receive, adjusted only for annual cost of living increases, for the rest of your life. This is not a decision you can undo with a phone call 2 years later when you realize the math did not work out the way you thought it would. This is a decision that follows you for every remaining year of your life. It deserves the full weight of your attention before you make it. If there is one thing I want you to take away from this video, it is this. The Social Security filing decision is not primarily an emotional decision. It is a math decision. And the math, for most people who are in reasonable health and have any flexibility in their timing, points clearly toward waiting. Not necessarily to 70, not necessarily past your full retirement age, but past 62 in most cases, by a meaningful margin. Run the numbers for your own situation. Use the percentages I gave you. Use your actual projected benefit amount, which you can find by creating an account at ssa.gov and viewing your Social Security statement. Map out the cumulative totals at different filing ages. Find your break-even point, compare it to your realistic life expectancy, and then make the decision with full information. That is all this video is asking you to do. Make the decision with full information, because you deserve that. If this video gave you clarity on something you have been turning over in your mind, I want you to do 3 things. Subscribe to Julian Voss Retirement right now if you have not already. We publish new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and every video is built around giving you the specific, concrete information you need to protect your retirement. Not general advice, not vague guidance, real numbers and real strategies for real people. Share this video with someone you know who is approaching 62 or who is trying to decide when to file for Social Security. This decision is being made every day by people who do not have the numbers in front of them. If you know someone in that situation, sending them this video costs you nothing and could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to them over the course of their retirement. And leave a comment below telling me where you are in this decision. Are you approaching 62? Have you already filed and you're seeing this after the fact? Are you trying to figure out the right strategy for you and your spouse? Tell me what your situation looks like, because your comments shape the videos I make here. And if there is a specific angle of this topic you need more information on, I want to know about it. Coming up next on Julian Voss Retirement, we are going into the spousal and survivor benefit strategies in detail, because the filing decision for married couples is an entirely different calculation than the one I walked through today, and the stakes are just as high. If you are married and you have not thought carefully about how your filing timing interacts with your spouse's benefit, that video is one you need to see before either of you makes a move. I will see you in the next one.